Order. Members will be aware of comments in the media regarding the arrest of Lord Mandelson. To prevent any inaccurate speculation, I'd like to confirm that upon receipt of information that I felt it was relevant, I passed this on to the Metropolitan Police in good faith, as is my duty and responsibility. It is regrettable this rapidly ended in the media, as this is a live investigation. Members will understand that it would not be appropriate to make any further comment, and I'd like to caution members from doing so. Right, we now come to questions to Secretary of State for Scotland. Julie Minns.
Question number 1, Mr Speaker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The UK Government is working closely with the Scottish Government to deliver for the people of Scotland. Since taking office, we've provided a record budget settlement to the Scottish Government, reversing both austerity and years of underfunding and ensuring communities get the support they deserve. I met with the Deputy First Minister earlier this month. This Labour Government, as the party of devolution, is already delivering an extra £11 billion for the Scottish Government's budget, £120 million of investment for Grangemouth and a defence dividend for Rosyth and Faslane.
Minns.
Mr Speaker, one example of what might be politely called ineffective relations between the Scottish and UK governments concerns bovine electronic identification. Instead of agreeing to adopt the same radio frequency as the UK and the rest of Europe, the Scottish Government has chosen to use high-frequency spectrum. The implications for the UK's largest auction mart in my Carlisle constituency will be a doubling of costs, as they have to invest in 2 types of scanner. Will the Minister please press the Office for the Internal Market to look in detail at how auction houses and hauliers, like those in my constituency, will be placed at a competitive disadvantage thanks to the SNP government?
Well, Mr Speaker, my honourable friend raises an important point, not just for her constituents but for many others. While animal health is a devolved responsibility, I am troubled but not altogether surprised to learn that the Scottish Government has chosen to diverge from the approach being taken across the rest of the UK and indeed in Europe, with all of the consequent difficulties she describes. The Office of the Internal Market, of which she spoke, produced a report on this issue in 2025 and recognised that some businesses, such as larger livestock auctions, could face higher costs if the system is not managed well. My right honourable friend can nonetheless be assured that the UK Government at least remains committed to seamless trade within the United Kingdom.
David Mundell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I begin by paying tribute to the former Scottish Cabinet Secretary Jean Freeman, who sadly passed away this month. I dealt extensively with Jean in the implementation of the Scotland Act and always found her very professional and personable. Can I also hope that the Secretary of State's visit to New Zealand was a particularly successful one, although it did seem to be an extremely long way to go just to avoid Anna Sarwar. The Secretary of State may be aware that there is a very successful programme for HIV testing in England, a HIV testing week. Could he make representations to the Scottish Government that not only is there an HIV testing week in Scotland, but radically it is the same week as in England, so that it could benefit from national focus?
Mr Speaker, can I thank the honourable gentleman for his characteristic grace and generosity with which he asked the question. I can assure him it was a long-planned trip. It was establishing relations that, frankly, should have been established some time ago in the government of which he served. But nonetheless, we're very proud of our defence relationship with New Zealand, and I look forward to being with an ass in Paisley on Friday. As far as the substance of his question is concerned, can I commend the right honourable member for his advocacy on this issue over many years. The UK Government recently launched an HIV action plan for England with the aim of ending new HIV transmissions by the end of the decade. Our recent HIV testing week has helped build public knowledge and understanding so that we can reconnect thousands with the healthcare they need, reduce stigma and, crucially, identify undiagnosed cases. While, of course, as he knows, healthcare in Scotland is a devolved matter for the Scottish Government, we support any initiatives that ensure people across the United Kingdom get the testing they need.
Susan Murray, Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Transport in Scotland has devolved, but Labour's new EV tax is not. And Scotland is home to the largest constituencies by area in the UK. This will mean that many rural Scots who already pay more for electricity at home will pay more tax despite having less access to charging infrastructure. So can the Secretary of State tell me what discussions they have had with the Scottish Government on the impact of this tax? And will they work with the Scottish Government to improve charging access and to create a mandatory community benefit scheme for those who see the turbines of the Green Revolution from their windows but don't see a fair reflection in their bills?
Hear, hear. Speaker, many of us know from experience of family, friends and others of the difficulty of many charging stations across Scotland, causing the range anxiety, particularly in rural areas of which she speaks. The new electric vehicle excise duty introduces a fairer approach to sharing costs generated by all vehicle drivers through wear and tear on roads and congestion. As a former Transport Secretary, the reality is, as we transition to electric vehicles, it's necessary to look at the taxation of electric vehicles appropriately. While those living in rural areas tend to drive more than those living in urban areas, EV drivers are also more likely to have a dedicated home charger, which allows access to the lowest charging costs, and this ensures that EVs remain the cheaper, greener choice. But nonetheless, I can assure her that we do talk to the Scottish Government on a range of issues.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself with the comments by other colleagues about the sad loss of Jean Freeman? Mr. Speaker, this has been a difficult few weeks for another difficult few weeks for Scottish Labour. So, for the benefits of the House, when the Scottish Labour senior politicians have no faith in this government, could the Secretary of State maybe outline what are the major policy differences between them?
Mr. Speaker, firstly, let me, and I should have done this in response to the former Secretary of State's earlier question, associate myself with remarks that he offered in relation to the late Jean Freeman. She was a public servant of distinction who served both in the Cabinet and indeed in the Scottish Parliament for a number of years. In relation to his question, he talked about this being a difficult few weeks. The terrible truth is that we've had a difficult couple of decades under the SNP, whether that is their failure to be able to build ferries in relation to transport, whether it's the falling education standards, whether it's their inability to get a grip on waiting times. The real issues that are of concern to Scotland is avoiding a third decade of SNP failure.
Stephen Guthridge. Unsurprisingly, the Secretary of State hasn't been able to tell me that there are any differences, because this is the sad truth. When it comes to every issue, Keir Starmer's most loyal supporters are in Scottish Labour. When it came to raising tax on SMEs, no problem. When it came to scrapping the winter fuel allowance, no problem. When it came to the two-child cap that even kicked people out the party, no problem. But when it comes to their own jobs, then there's a problem. Does the Secretary of State understand why Labour are falling so far and so fast?
Mr. Speaker, he talks about sad truths. The sad truth in relation to jobs is that 1 in 7 young Scots between 16 and 24 are not in either employment, education or training. The Scottish Government, of which he served, also uphold another sad truth, which is it's hard to think of a single area of Scottish public life over the last 19 years where we've seen an improvement. Scottish schools used to be the envy of the world. His government has delivered falling standards. The Scottish National Health Service, with brilliant staff, contrasts very badly with the level of progress that's being made by colleagues down here in relation to waiting lists. Whether it's being weak on defence, inadequate on further education colleges, or generally just a secret and inadequate